Mission is my ministry. I'm also a UCC pastor. A lot of people think about hospice. If there's a misconception that folks come on during the very end, like the last days or weeks of their life. But in actuality, I get to work with my patients and families sometimes for 6 months or 9 months or more. And I've been learning over the last several years doing this that one thing that a lot of my folks do that's really meaningful is they start taking stock of their life. They start reviewing their life. They start thinking about memories that they had when they were children, or when they got married, or when they lost their mom. And those meetings, those memories, kind of have a meaning-making part to them. They start thinking about how close they felt to God, or how far away they felt to God. Or maybe there was a time when their spirituality felt really tested. And that seems to go hand in hand as we're kind of looking back on our life, especially toward the end of our life. It's prompted me to wonder, why should we wait until our last months or years to do this work? A lot of research shows that the more we know about our spirituality, the more we're able to cope with challenges that come up in our life. We're all going to have challenges, right? I'm sure in this room, everyone has had a challenge that's been difficult, and you had to dig down inside yourself and find your resiliency, your toughness in the face of that. And you've developed your own coping tools and ways that you got through it, right? Well, this activity today intentionally invites us to look over our life in the first part. And in the second part, we're going to kind of look how our faith, our spirituality, our religion, whatever label you'd like to put on it, how that intersects with those moments in our life. And then the last part today would be just kind of discussing that and sharing any significant things that we've learned. Two kind of notes before we get started. You won't feel like you have enough time to do this. If you really get into it, you're going to be like, but I wasn't done. That's okay. I hope that if you're interested in this, this is something you take home. It could even become part of a new spiritual practice for you, kind of an intentional life review and thinking about your relationship with God. The other thing that I'd like to say about this is this was originally inspired by some research that one of my professors at ILIF did. Her name's Carrie Doring. Some of you might have encountered her. She's one of our pastoral care professors at ILIF. She's done a lot of work with a man named Kenneth Parmagant, and they work together studying spiritual resilience. And I gave Sharon a copy of an article they wrote. If you're interested in spiritual resilience and what that means, and you feel like reading a scholarly journal article, we have that for you. All right. So, to get started, I'm inviting you to think about your life. We're going to make a timeline. You can do that in lots of different ways. If you're a creative person, you could make like a wavy line that's going up a hill or a spiral. This kind of shows my thought process. This is how I would do my timeline.
It looks like a line.
It's a line. I'm a pretty linear thinker. But if you're creative and this doesn't speak to you, I invite you to make it yours. You want to start from when you were born at one end and go through like current time today. So you don't have to start this right now while I'm talking. I'm going to give you time to work. So when you make this timeline, let me draw my linear timeline on here. Then I'm going to start thinking about all the significant events that happened, meaningful things that happened when I started school, if I moved to a different school, if I got married. You can even think of religiously, like were you confirmed, were you baptized, things like that. On the table, sometimes it's tough to get started. There's a list of kind of prompt questions for reflection. So you can look over those. It says part 1, that's the side you'll want to look at. And then if you like to make lists, like I would probably start by just taking a few minutes and jotting down a list in no particular order of significant things that come to me when I think about my life. Then after you make that list, you can start putting them into your timeline. Don't get bogged down with this part, and don't think, well, I'm almost 50, so halfway would be here, 25. You don't have to do that. That's what I would do if I was doing it, so I'm warning you. Because as your life goes on, you get more events, right? So you might only have a few from your childhood that were significant, and then as you go on, you might have more and more and more. So I'm going to give you some time to work on that. If you have questions, just let me know and I'll come over to answer. But really take the time to think about your life and what was important in your life to you at this moment. All right, I'm going to let you get started.